everyone. Not everyone might be actually ready for this message, but I've decided to pass it on. So why sometimes stuck in the rut is not what we think it is. In fact, in majority of the cases, it isn't. So if you find yourself in the vicious cycle of always ending up where you don't see a way out and nothing that you were trying to do to prevent it or come out of it actually failed, well, you need to stop. Seriously, to stop. And other than stop, tafakkur, contemplation. Open your eyes, open your heart, and open your ears to ayats, because ayats, meaning the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they always been there. But you, most likely, were blind or deaf or unwilling to pay attention. So bear with me a second. About tafakkur, I wrote in the book, Islamically Inspired Self-Development. But what I need you to know, the cherry on the top, is that you cannot move on in your life, you cannot feel satisfaction in your life, you cannot experience inner contentment in your heart until you learn how to stop and contemplate and actually take yourself to responsibility. And that's not enough. That's not enough. There's also a second step to it. But if you learn how to pay attention, you realize that actually the reason why you're stuck in a rut is because you're creating a certain amount of signs. So maybe there are signs which you're creating internally. I mean, somatically, for majority of us, it's anxiety, so depression, sometimes even panic attacks. Sometimes even waswas or kawatir in the form of suicidal thoughts. So we know we have this tendency nowadays, 21st century, to label everything with mental health disease. And it makes us feel better because we have therapists, because we have medication, and we know how to sort it out. But the fact of the matter, statistically speaking, is that we are dealing with it for quite a long time, and we're coming on and off, on and off, in a vicious cycle, and we're stuck in a rut with this mental health disease. And the reason why it's so, it's because we don't learn how to, we don't give ourselves a gift of contemplating on how is it that I got myself to this point. Sometimes it's not somatic, sometimes it's relationships. So sometimes we find people coming at us with the same sort of attitudes, the same sort of challenges, but they are different type of people. So we ask ourselves a question or not, what is it about this pattern in my life? And the question that we should really ask ourselves, what is it about me that make me end up in the same pattern, me coming back to the same pattern? Just bear with me a second. So this is the first step, to read ayats or to give yourself a gift of and attempt. Give yourself a gift of attempt to read the signs, because it's not easy. Probably that's why talking therapy is so powerful nowadays for current level of consciousness in our ummah, and globally speaking as well, because we as therapists, we help you to heal yourself. We help you to take yourself into accountability. But as I said, it's not enough. The journey doesn't end up just there. Just by knowing what is it that my body is experiencing, or what patterns that I'm experiencing, and just freeing yourself from those labels of mental health disease, right? And ability to end up in this glorious state of self-accountability, it's really not enough. It's really not enough. However, this is where it starts. And the reason why it's so important, because the ayats, they have different layers. So I spoke about somatic, and I've spoken about relationships, like environmental wise. You know, the fact that you're inviting waswas, this is another ayat, meaning you making yourself sick, you're not having enough protection, maybe you're not making enough du'as, you maybe not praying properly, maybe you're not hygienic enough. You know, in our religion, we're extremely hygienic as well. So some things to ponder about what is it that you do. That's the first step, but also recognize that there are ayats outside of you. So watch my video about hearing voices if you don't get this message now. But we are having 3 levels of voices. So we have waswas from our Qari. We have our own inner critique, which is called kawatir in Arabic. But we also have guidance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So most likely what I'm proposing to you right now is to think about your stuckness as an invitation to spirituality. Sometimes that depression that you're feeling is not just depression, not mental emotional depression, it's actually invitation to spirituality. Sometimes it is a case, most likely it is a case in my clinical experience. So what I want you to think about is that Quran and Sunnah of the Prophet actually invited you long time ago, over 1400 years ago, to understand that when Allah was good to you, He bestowed upon you the understanding of this religion. And the deen is more than just prayers. The deen is there for you to look after yourself in the terms of afia, but also maintain a really healthy, pure, and clean and stable, resilient lifestyle. For the sake of your soul and for the sake of the humanity, not only yourself, but for the rest of the humanity or the rest of the world as well. So if you understand that, suddenly you realize that, yeah, indeed, I have been guided all this time, all the way I've been guided, but I haven't been ready. I haven't been attentive enough. And how we know that the guidance is there? We know from Quran, Surah 10, verse 25, and Allah invites to the home of peace and guides who He wills to a straight path. And then we know from the Surah Baqarah, which is the second, one of the biggest surahs, 188, and when my servant asks you concerning me, indeed I'm near. I respond to invocations of the supplicant when he calls upon me. So let them respond to me and believe in me that they might be guided. You see, it really starts with this realization that, subhanAllah, I always had potential to be guided. I always had potential to change things around, to come out of this darkness, to come out of this rut, to feel that inner peace. So that's what I mean. Just being contemplative and taking yourself into account is not enough. We need to open our ears to guidance around us. And if you don't know how to do it, I have a really good news for you. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, July 14, 15, and 16, 2023, I am launching a free Islamic psychology experience. It's not just a challenge, experience, because I'm going to have a therapist, I'm going to have coaches that holding you hand by hand, going through homeworks, supporting your path throughout and outside your own stuckness, whatever your stuckness is, somatic, mental, emotional, spiritual, to the point where you will understand how to use Islamic psychology tools and advice and reconnect with that guidance, which always been there, but you just didn't have tools and techniques to connect with it. And I give you guarantee that there are proven techniques and methods in Islamic psychology that can help you to look forward and never go back to where you're always going back to. So sign up. Link is just below. I really look forward to be there helping you. It's part of my Sadaqah Duria. Please give me an honor to be at service. And again, if you like this video, just give it a thumb up so I can share this message with more. And my YouTube channel is called AJS Therapy. I hope you are new subscribers. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.